Really, almost nothing. I'm not very sentimental.
I didn't fall from grace because I was weak. I fell because someone pushed me. A bitter confession from Meg Ryan, the rom-com icon of the 90s. The woman who once made the whole world swoon with just a smile. But that spotlight didn't last forever. When Meg stood at the top, they applauded. When she took a single step back, they shoved her down. And when she fell, no one reached out a hand. Who planted the knife in her back when she wasn't looking? What did they do to bring down the icon adored by millions? Join us in uncovering a Hollywood story never told, where it wasn't the audience, but the industry itself that killed the legend. She was once America's sweetheart, Hollywood's national muse, the woman who brought love stories to the silver screen and made millions believe that happiness was real. From When Harry Met Sally to Sleepless in Seattle, Meg Ryan wasn't just a pretty face. She was the soul of an unforgettable era in romantic cinema. But as the spotlight faded, no one asked if she was okay. They only asked, did she get plastic surgery? The affair that shattered her image with Russell Crowe. In 2000, at the height of her rom-com reign, Meg was suddenly caught in a scandalous relationship with actor Russell Crowe while still married to Dennis Quaid. The media tore her apart. Her America's sweetheart image crumbled overnight. The bitter, shadowed divorce from Dennis Quaid. Following the 2000 scandal, Meg was nearly blacklisted from lead roles. She became a taboo name in major projects. Her career spiraled rapidly. Attacked over her looks amid plastic surgery rumors. After just one appearance with signs of cosmetic procedures, Meg was ridiculed online, labeled as disfigured, and called a plastic surgery disaster. No one asked why a woman over 40 was expected to stay eternally young. Depression and a quiet retreat from Hollywood. After waves of criticism and rejection, Meg quietly disappeared from film sets. She retreated into private life, raising her child, writing, yet forever referenced as a fallen icon. Betrayed and badmouthed by former co-stars. Many male co-stars refused to mention Meg in interviews or hinted that she was difficult to work with or had personal issues, further burying her reputation. Falling out with the Hollywood Women's Circle. Once a vocal advocate for women's rights and gender equality in the industry, Meg was shunned by some female peers after the Russell Crowe scandal, afraid her presence might damage their own public image. Meg had nothing left. Who were the ones that took everything from her? Who burned down the kingdom she built with tears and smiles? Their names will be revealed one by one among the 5 people Meg says, "I cannot forgive, and I no longer have a reason to stay silent." Let's move forward because up next is the first name. And it's no stranger. Enemy number 1. Dennis Quaid. The facade of a husband who destroyed her honor and career. He was once Meg Ryan's partner, her red carpet companion, praised as the supportive king behind one of Hollywood's brightest sweethearts. But behind those smiles lay a chilling and ruthless truth. For nearly a decade, Meg silently endured loneliness, emotional neglect, and repeated betrayals from Dennis. When Meg was caught in an affair with Russell Crowe in 2000, all of America turned its scornful gaze on her. She was branded a homewrecker. Directors cut her roles. Producers refused to work with her. The press vilified her relentlessly. But what no one knew was that Dennis had been cheating for years. Meg was simply the woman who finally screamed after years of silent suffering. He never spoke up to defend her, never corrected the narrative, never shared an ounce of the blame. Instead, Dennis Quaid quietly retreated, wearing the label of the betrayed husband, while Meg became the symbol of disgrace. That single fall, with Dennis as the first culprit, shattered the image Meg had spent nearly 2 decades building. And once that image crumbled in Hollywood, there is no road back. But that was just the first stab because the second man was even more powerful. And the way he obliterated Meg Ryan's career was far more brutal. Enemy number 2. Harvey Weinstein. The mogul who slammed the doors of artistic cinema on Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan wasn't just a symbol of innocence and Hollywood romance. She was once seen as an actress with the depth to transition into serious, dramatic, and art house cinema. She had long harbored the desire to shed her America's Sweetheart label and emerge as a powerful, versatile star. And so she knocked on the doors of Miramax, where Harvey Weinstein reigned as the all-powerful kingmaker. Weinstein reportedly laughed when he heard her name. "That blonde doll wants to do Oscar films?" He sneered, then offered her 2 choices: play by the mogul's rules or go back to rom-coms and drown in her own stereotype. Meg said no, firmly. No handshake, no compromise. And in Weinstein's world, that meant one thing: she was frozen out. Right after that meeting, a wave of major projects pulled her name. Invitations that had once been guaranteed vanished like they never existed. She was blacklisted from potential Oscar-worthy roles simply because she refused to submit. And Weinstein, he never had to lift a finger to destroy Meg's career. With just a single shake of his head, he turned all of Hollywood against her. But he wasn't the only one. Because the third enemy didn't need power or words. With just a smile and a false gaze, he shattered Meg Ryan's trust in her peers and in herself. Don't look away. The story is just beginning. Enemy number 3, Julia Roberts. The cold-blooded smile behind the curtain. They were once hailed as the two reigning queens of 1990s Hollywood, Meg Ryan and Julia Roberts. Two beauty icons, two box-office powerhouses, two names synonymous with every hit rom-com. On the red carpet, they smiled. In the press, they praised each other. But behind the scenes was a cold, silent, and ruthless rivalry. In 2000, Meg was in talks for a bold, career-defining role. A nomination was on the horizon. Then suddenly, the project was halted without explanation. What she didn't know was that behind that quiet pass on her casting was Julia. A private meeting with the director. A gentle suggestion: "I think the film would be better if Meg wasn't in it." And that was all it took. Julia, with her rising stardom and deep ties in the industry, didn't need to fight for the role. She simply had to strip Meg of the opportunity to shine alone without sharing the spotlight. Meg Ryan once thought they were friends. She believed in solidarity among women in the industry. But the moment she watched Julia accept an award on the stage of the very film Meg was meant to lead, she understood. In Hollywood, competition doesn't require blood, just a smile at the right moment. But Meg didn't fall just yet. Because the fourth enemy was crueler than any smile. A man who once swore to love her and turned every promise into a scar that would never heal. Stay with us. The worst is still to come. Enemy number 4, Russell Crowe. The cold steel lover and the unwarned backstab. They met on set, a film that was supposed to change both their lives. Meg Ryan, the soft, emotional icon. Russell Crowe, the rugged, wild, and intense leading man. The press dubbed them the perfect silver screen couple. And Meg, for the first time since her broken marriage, believed she was truly loved again. She believed that Russell would heal the wounds Dennis Quaid had left behind. But that love never got the chance to bloom. It turned into a trap. While Meg went public with the relationship and took the full brunt of media backlash for leaving her husband for another man, Russell stayed silent. He didn't defend her. Not a single word of support. When asked about their relationship, he simply said, "I don't think it's anything people should care about." And just weeks later, he was seen hand in hand with another woman in the heart of Hollywood. It wasn't just a heartbreak. It was a career-crushing blow to Meg's image. Audiences turned on her. Producers labeled her unstable. Magazines branded her a homewrecker, when in truth, she had only loved the wrong man and trusted a heart that was never hers to begin with. But Meg's story doesn't end there. Because the final enemy wasn't a lover, wasn't a co-star, but a powerful symbol of the media who crushed her public image with nothing more than a pen and a camera. Stay tuned. This is the figure who made all of America turn against Meg Ryan in just one night. The final enemy, Oprah Winfrey. The media queen and the interview that killed Meg Ryan on live television. Meg Ryan was once America's sweetheart, but all it took was one hot seat on the Oprah Winfrey set, and everything came crashing down. In a 2006 interview meant to be a chance for Meg to reconnect with the public, she walked in with a gentle smile, expecting warmth and empathy. But Oprah, wielding unmatched media power, turned the conversation into a courtroom. From the very first question, "Do you think you betrayed your fans by walking away from your career at its peak?" Meg was stunned. She tried to explain that she stepped back to raise her child, to heal from heartbreak. But Oprah didn't relent. She pressed on into the scandals, the failed roles, then blamed Meg for making women lose faith in romantic love. The audience, who had clapped at the start, grew silent, cold. And when Meg teared up, still trying to smile, Oprah closed with a detached nod. The audience gets to decide who deserves a comeback. The next day, sensational headlines exploded. Meg Ryan humiliated by Oprah. Meg Ryan's career over. The door back to Hollywood closed without a sound. She wasn't punched or shouted at. She was suffocated by the silence that followed. No more leading roles. Talk shows avoided her. And Meg Ryan, once the darling of an era, became the face of a so-called golden age gone wrong. But what was her crime, really? Loving the wrong person? Trying to protect herself? Or simply being a woman who dared to live authentically in a world that demands women be perfect at all times? Meg Ryan was once the embodiment of sweetness. Her smile could melt all of America. But behind the spotlight, beyond the iconic roles, was a woman bruised, silenced, stripped bare in the very sanctuary that once worshipped her, Hollywood. The 5 names mentioned aren't cruel accusations. They are unhealed wounds etched into her artistic journey. These were people who once smiled at her, loved her, even lifted her high, only to be the ones who shoved her into the mud. But Meg doesn't want pity. She wants truth. And today, at 63, she's done staying silent. She names them one by one, not for revenge, but to reclaim the right to tell her own story. If you ever loved Meg Ryan, watch her films again, but this time with eyes that understand. And if you too have ever been broken by the very people who were meant to protect you, don't stay silent. Speak up like Meg did, because sometimes resurrection begins exactly where we were crushed the hardest. Hit subscribe because behind every star lies a wound that hasn't healed. And we're here to tell you all their stories.